Hey there, we're working all hands to the pumps. Remembrance Day is just a couple of days away. I've just finished rebuilding the pipe major's kilt, and I will discuss that in a minute about everything I've done. Oh hell, I'll discuss it now. I've built up the front apron, as I said, the way that I'd mentioned, with a panel that's been sewn in because the original piece of cloth was only about that long. I've added a reinforcing canvas to the inside. I had thought about putting a tartan piece over it, but that was just going to make it too bulky. So this is going to look professional rather than super neat. But on the outside, the stitching's invisible, and it means that the weight of the kilt pin will be better supported rather than the single layer of this somewhat inadequate cloth. I'm going to do one more thing because we have the hidden stitch here. We have this overcasting stitch here. I'm going to do a pad stitch up the middle to give it a little extra support. The canvas is in. The lining is in. I've just put on the top strap, or the top band, I should say. I've left the inner end of the inner apron open because when he comes by, I'm going to fit it to him one last time. So here's the inner apron strap attached to his buckle. I'll hold it, I'll fit it to him, I'll make the mark, I'll sew it in place, and then I'll sew this up. And as you can see faintly there, where it started, I've signed my work. What else have I done? Yeah, so it's looking 100 times better than the stramash it was when it brought into me. So I don't know if you took a peek over there. There's my associate, Mr. McIntosh. He's Parker McIntosh. He's been drawing trews patterns and trouser patterns, and today he's just cut out from a set of trouser material. He's making up a set of trousers. Interesting stuff. I'm not a trouser man. I'm learning a lot from him. So I'm just going to show you now how I sew the elastic in. And the elastic, and I mentioned this, I've done another video on this. The elastic, I believe this has been a practice ever since this stuff became commercially available, because in the Seaforth collection we have a booklet of Part 1 orders, standing orders from the Seaforth Highlanders of the British Army, dated about 1908, and in the back there's an index. I think they sent it to us to be a template for the Seaforths of Canada to write their own Part 1 orders. But in the back there's a catalog of pricing for the regimental tailor, and one of the items is to put an elastic in the kilt. So it's at least that old. So typically these are done in black elastic with black thread on a dark tartan. That's fine as far as it goes, but again, the elastic perishes. It always eventually perishes, and when it does, you're stuck. And they usually do a really terrific job of sewing it on. So you're there trying to take the thing off without damaging the cloth, and it's a pain in the backside. So what I do, a ribbon of elastic of contrasting color, thread of contrasting color, and so you can tell in a moment just by looking at it if one of the threads is broken off, or when the time comes to replace it, you can remove this thread without setting yourself up for a tin cup and pencils because you've lost your damn vision. So also this isn't terrifically firmly sewn on, because in the event of the cloth being caught, I want this thread to fail before the cloth tears, particularly with this latest issue of the 22-ounce cloth. I don't find it particularly, I wouldn't call it a hard tartan. It's not particularly durable. So I start out my contrasting color. I have a knot in the end. Now looking over, I alternate pleats. So I pass through the edge. Can you see? You're high enough, so there we go. So we pass through a second time, a third time. Now I come up to the lower edge once, twice, thrice, and then I tie my knot. And I just spin it around the needle, 1, 2, 3, and then I stick my needle in the bite, and I draw, see how I did that? I draw the knot down to where it should be and tug it tight. Now to tie the next knot, 1, 2, 3, 4, needle through the bite again, and I draw it down to a spot where I want. And I reach up for my scissors, and I cut, and off I go. And we can watch this in real time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Bring it down, 2, 3. Bring this down not as far. Sever, and off I go. So there we go. Thank you very much.